everybody, and welcome, I guess, to your first edition of Exploring Cleveland. And I'm going to tell you about some of my experiences and things that's going on with the Cleveland Explore team and myself, Adam Begin Photography. We're going around Cleveland trying to find locations that have been abandoned, some of the history with the city, or some really cool locations that maybe people might have forgot about over the years. And I've been getting questions, so I'm going to answer a few questions here that people have asked me over Facebook, and I'm going to try to answer as best as I can. And one of the questions I get asked a lot is, do I go solo? I usually have people with me. A couple times I've went solo. I don't recommend really going solo because you never know like what you could run into, but it's usually pretty, peaceful, no problems, honestly. During the day, you don't really have many people down there because they're out in Cleveland trying to make a few bucks or whatever before they return to come home and sleep at the end of the night, if that's where they're choosing to sleep that evening, that factory or that building. Have I ever been caught? I have never been caught, really like arrested or nothing like that. I guess I've been caught, I guess you can say. I'm sorry. I did have the cops come up behind me once when I was at Warner and Swayze in Cleveland. I was going through the cop cars. That's their abandoned junkyard of all the Cleveland police cruisers with gunshots or cruisers that are been rolled over. Just all kinds of damage, whatever the history may be with them. But when I was in there once, I had a cop come up. I didn't even hear him. Came up behind me and asked what I was doing and told me I needed to get out of there. And he didn't give me a hard time. He just basically said, "Get out." So I left, and but I was with a couple friends, so I had to act like I was with nobody because I don't want to take nobody else ever down with me when we're out on these explorers. So I just called my friends and told them I was walking down East 55th and come meet me down there and pick me up when you guys can, but be safe because there was a cop going around the building at the time. Places I've been. Well, I'll try to name you as best as I can the places I've been. I have a little book here. I keep track of all my abandoned places. Let's see, I've been to Empire School before, and that school is pretty cool. A lot of these schools that you go into around Cleveland, you would be amazed how much is actually left behind. The stuff that they could really be using somewhere else, even in the schools or another country or anything. Some of these books are still wrapped up, sealed, plenty of desks, lots of scrap metal that could help the school systems if they would get rid of it, make some money. So, Cleveland schools, I think, are doing pretty bad with the demolishing of schools and taking out what they could still really be using. But I think that's a whole nother story. I've actually talked with Fox 8 about doing a story about that, but I haven't completely heard back from the editor yet. I've only talked with a couple of news personalities that I know at the station personally, but I'm going to keep them anonymous, but I'm trying to work on something like that. But yes, I've been into Empire School. Then there's the TMB Foundry, which I've been to a couple times. That's like four floors of hell. A lot of the floors are just destroyed. The rooms are destroyed. Not really much left to it, but the little huts next to the main building where they still have the molds left, and that's pretty neat to see some of the original molds from the factory, stuff like that. Juvenile Detention Center in Cleveland. I was there the morning that it actually burnt down. It was really cool to see a jail detention center. I did Mansfield Prison, but that's another story. But going inside the Juvenile Detention Center was pretty intense. Just seeing the cells or the courtrooms and all that stuff. It was a really cool place. But again, like I said, I was there the morning, me and a bunch of other photographers and a couple other explorers that morning. Then later on that night, around 9:30, I believe, in the evening, I believe some kids were throwing fireworks into the windows or something, and then a fire ended up happening. But I've been to that place. It's pretty interesting. Warner and Swayze. I mean, that's the classic one on East 55th. I think we all know that are explorers of Cleveland. That place, I've been there plenty of times. That was the first building that I've ever been to. I thought that was really intense my first time. I mean, just walking around and all that, just seeing such a big factory empty like that. Don't know what's going on, but Warner and Swayze is a really good place for photography. But the thing that's unfortunate about that place, I have to put this out there, is they are now putting a fence around it. So they're trying to be more careful about it. And I believe they're going to try to repurpose it and try to use it for something. So if you do try to go there, be very careful, because again, there is fencing around it and they might be starting to do work with it. And then there's the other Warner and Swayze, the Observatory, the one out in East Cleveland. That one's pretty neat. A lot of good places for photography. It's slowly decaying more and more, but when you get into like the domes or the globes or whatever you want to call them, it's pretty neat to still walk up there and see the graffiti, the art, and just looking up at the sky. And another thing that's really neat about that place is I like how the moss or the nature's taking over the building. It's starting to turn green. You see the leaves covering it up, and I think that's really neat, seeing nature take over something that's no longer being used. Huron Place Apartments. Now, I remember Huron Hospital back in the day, but it's not even there no more. But the 14, 15 story apartment place that's right across the street from the old hospital, that is still there, and it is empty. And it's 14 floors of hell also. I mean, every room is gutted out, destroyed. You know, every plumbing is gone. Anything you can think of in a bathroom or any type of plumbing, it's been raided through. But that was a really cool place. I enjoyed that. The Sedway Bridge, or Sedway, I'm probably saying it wrong, so I'm sorry, but I guess that's where the race riots were back in the day, and the Torso Killer or something back in Cleveland. And the bridge burnt down. Now all that's left is just a big metal shell of a suspension bridge in Cleveland. That's pretty neat. I do say, you know, be very careful going out there, or make sure you're a good climber if you do ever attempt something like that, because that bridge is, again, just a shell, and it's pretty high up, and you're walking across steel. I'm on YouTube attempting it. I used to film for a guy named Abandoned with Busy, so if you ever want to check out his channel, I did do some filming for him. When I was filming for him, that's when I got to do the Mansfield Prison. They gave us all access, and we did so much in that place, going where the public can't go, and this unlimited access. That was really a joy. That's the other place I did besides the Juvenile detention, jail related. But yeah, Mansfield Prison was a pretty cool place, and seeing all the stuff from Shawshank Redemption and all that. The attic was pretty interesting. They showed us how there are these nooses suspended in the air, but they can't explain how they got there, because there's nothing around to put the nooses up there. Then again, I don't know if it's a prop, or if you're into ghost exploring or the history, you might think more of it, or you know something about it. National Acme Company. Now let me tell you about this place. This is probably one of the stinkiest places you can go. It smells horrible. I would use other words, but trying to keep this normal for everybody. But the place has a horrible smell, because back in the day, the person who I guess bought it after the original owners started doing a bunch of illegal dumping. So there's trash everywhere. But it is a really good place for some good photography shots, but I highly recommend a mask for trash smelling, and like a lot of these places, but especially this one, the asbestos smell is really, really strong. But you will have some cool finds and things you'll see. I enjoy seeing the old locker room. There are like some uniforms and shoes. It's pretty cool. Westinghouse Electronics. That's another great place out in Cleveland. When exploring that place, beautiful, beautiful graffiti. A lot of history. There's actually tunnels I've learned about recently underneath the place. I went down. I got to check them out. see the old benches. I believe someone told me that streetcars used to go through. I don't know that for sure, so don't hold me to it. But the old benches that would be on the side of the road were still set up underneath in the tunnels below Westinghouse. That place is also very well known from the Avengers movie. They filmed a couple scenes there, or a scene. I know a scene for sure when she's has some fight, Scarlett Johansson, with a couple of the other villains, and she ends up hanging a guy upside down by a chain. But really cool location. The movie side. The other side has another part of the building. You have to be really careful going up because there's not, the stairwells are, some of them are missing. There's a lot of climbing. You could do some sliding down if you're not safe. But it's really tore up, especially the other half, at least the staircase area. White Dove Mattress Factory. That place also really good for photo shoots, photography. A lot of history with the building because it was the original White Dove Mattress Factory. Same thing though, unfortunately, there was some illegal dumping there, so you will see some illegal dumping, but the difference is at this place it was mostly recyclables. You'll find like a bunch of bags of recyclable papers and stuff like that. And another place I've done recently was Peck, also known as, I believe, Great Motor. So I'm not sure what everybody will know it is, but when I was there, I found this interesting. I found an employee handbook from the place. But again, Peck, it's really dark when you first go inside there. I mean, you got to have lights for at least the bottom floor to really enjoy, to be able to see the offices or stuff like that. But again, be careful, be safe. Again, really dark. Masonic Temple. Masonic Newburgh, or Newburgh Masonic Temple, however you want to say it. That place was pretty neat. Yeah, a couple creepy moments. You know, we've heard sounds there before that we've picked up on camera. I'm not a ghost hunter, so I don't know much about that. So everybody has their own thing with that. But I didn't know how to react, but it was interesting. And we found like tables set up, like people were coming there to eat, but they are still dusty. It's kind of creepy watching tables get set for people that are not there. But the place isn't bad. Wilson Middle School. Now I've been there, and that place does have a fence around it, so it's highly recommended that you do not go there. But if you do, which obviously some of us do, you have to be very careful. Plus, that place is very open. Windows will have you instantly exposed. But as you stay more in toward the hallways and just take pictures of the classrooms from the classroom doors. And there's the old Bone Record Shop. I did forget the name of the place, but I've been to where they used to have their old record shop that was ran by Kermit Henderson, which is Anthony Henderson's uncle, which Anthony is known as Crazy Bone from the group Bone, or Bone Thugs and Harmony, whatever you know him as. That shop's really cool. The thing that surprises me is what was actually left there. I don't want to get into too much of it because I don't have a lot of people going there for problems, but I have talked with Kermit Henderson. He knows that I did some distribution for him, so he knows that I've been into the shop. He's worried about what goes on, and he knows that he made the mistake of leaving it how it was. But that is a pretty cool place, and I have talked with the former owner, or now it's the city finally took it over by now. Richmond Brothers, which is known as Hugo Boss. Richmond Brothers across from Wilson Middle School. Richmond Brothers, I tried for 3 years to get inside there. I never had any luck at all getting in. And until I went with another explorer that goes by the name Gunner. He's one of our people on our CET, Cleveland Explorer team. And he showed me about how getting in there. And that place is enormous. That's probably one of the bigger factories I've been through. pretty much, you know, once you go through one level, you've seen them all. I mean, if you're into exploring, you understand what I'm saying. A lot of these factories, it just gets pretty repetitive, some of these floors. But the coolest thing there is, you see a lot of photos online, is when you find the pinball machines, you got to get the photo by them. Trust me, I had to get my photo. But it's a really cool place, really, really big. Good camera shots from the roof, but if you go up to the roof, like any of these places, any roof, you have to be careful of soft spots or where it's caving in, or look for a hole that could be possibly being covered up. Cleveland Aquarium. That was, probably said that wrong, a place that I wanted to get into for a while. Same thing, but I was always nervous because, again, all these places you do have to be careful because it is technically trespassing. I got into the aquarium. It's about a 10-minute explore because there's not really a whole lot. If you remember, the Cleveland Canine, Cleveland Police took over after the aquarium, so there's some stuff up there that from the Canine times, or stuff from them when the cops were up there. I found once up there a pretty cool letter. I don't know if you want to pause it and read it. But the letter, this basically thanks the police on April 11th of '92 for what they did at Municipal Stadium, which is the old stadium before the new one was built, which is now Cleveland Browns Stadium. But that was pretty neat. But same thing, just as always, be careful. People worry about canines still going up there. I don't think you have to worry about that because there is so much broken glass throughout the whole place. I don't think they're going to be sending their dogs in there anymore, unless it was for a crime, because their pads would just get sliced up. Huff Bakery's, their main warehouse out in Cleveland, it also had the Inner Circle Lounge attached to it. Huff Bakery was a cool place to go because, again, the Cleveland history. Everybody knew Huff Bakery, hopefully growing up. Myself, I was always enjoyed their cookies. But anyways, yeah, it was a cool place. They still had some of the belts where the donuts and cookies or whatever would come down the line. Some of the machines still left behind. A lot of George Foreman hot sauce. There's plenty of sauce in these places. I don't understand that, but maybe some of you do, and leave a comment below if you're watching. We found tons of boxes that still said Huff Bakery on them. They're if you bought like dozens and stuff like that of cookies. Then it was pretty interesting to find the nightclub that was attached to the factory. Had some pool tables in it, all destroyed, everything. So nothing exciting, but it was just cool to see the Inner Circle Lounge that was attached to it. From what I was told, that's the name of it. Then there was the Nativity Catholic Church and School. I went out to that place. I probably took one of my best photos this year, so if you don't know about Adam Photography, you should look it up and you'll be able to see some of the photos. Not all these places I've done videos of yet. It's still a work in progress. First I go and usually do pictures, then on the second time I go back is when I do video, because I like to get a feel for the place, know what I'm looking at, or at least not pass up some good photos when I'm busy holding a camera for recording. But that place also has a school attached to it, so it's a pretty cool church. If you get to that one, it has a school attached to it, but again, as always, be safe. Now, the Cleveland School of Arts, or also known as Harry E. Davis Junior High out in Cleveland. Now, that's the school like I especially have a lot of concerns about, because to me, like I said, there are so many desks, so much that could be used at other schools, or Cleveland could sell it to other countries or help out other countries or any of those things, or less fortunate